Hello, good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started with our third TEL Talks. Thanks everybody for joining today. My name is Nikki Lepowski and I am the Quality Improvement Coordinator here at Child Care Aware of Minnesota. And we have the pleasure of having some of our partners here from Achieve to go over a topic that many of you suggested and we're interested in. So we'll go through a few pieces of information before we get to that. Just want to remind everyone what TEL Talks are. If this happens to be your first TEL Talk, welcome. This webinar series is held monthly, and as you can see on your screen, TEL Talks are topics for early learning leaders. They're based on feedback directly from program leaders and center directors. Our goal is really to bring these topics to light and then facilitate a solutions-focused discussion by presenting a guest speaker on that specific topic and or eliciting participation from center directors and program leaders. So we want to just recap a couple things about what's coming up and what previous topics we've discussed. Two of the topics that we've previously discussed are scholarships and grants. So we went over some Teach scholarships and some information related also to Retain. And 2 months ago, we had the topic of professional development for directors. And it was a highly attended topic. So we hope that you got all the information out of that you wanted. And if you ever need more information on these previous topics, just remember that these recordings are available. And currently right now, if you're interested in receiving that recording, please contact me and I will get that information to you. Coming up in November, we have a webinar from our own Corey Woosley on the topic of gossip in the workplace. And in December, we have the Executive Director of MNEC, MnSACA, Sarah Benskoffer, and she'll be talking about some advocacy issues and topics related to that. So if you haven't already registered for those webinars, feel free to do so. And again, if you need that information or the links, you can email me or anyone on our team. Also, we have a call out for registration just opened for the MNEC and MnSACA annual conference and their Winter Leadership Institute. So if you visit the MNEC MnSACA website, you can get more information and register there. And something else to add to this, what's coming up information is anyone who has attended a TEL Talk, either this one or any of the previous topics, you will be receiving a survey that will be coming out, and we're really looking to hear from you feedback and what's working and maybe what's not. So please take a couple minutes to answer that survey when you receive it. Wanted to just remind everyone again of what Child Care Aware of Minnesota is. If you can see on the screen here, you can see a map illustrating where some of the regional offices are and the support is located throughout the state. Child Care Aware of Minnesota does help families find quality child care programming and also supports the early childhood ed field. Some of the areas here you can see professional development, eager to learn courses, grants from regional and Retain, our QRIS, which is Parent Aware. We have scholarships such as Teach, and then we also have the CDA program and trainer and RBPD support. Child Care Aware of Minnesota, as you can tell, is community informed. So that's one of the goals of this TEL topic too, is really just to bring us together as a community and make sure that we're having information presented to you that is relevant to the work that you're doing and the importance of quality childcare in our state. So there's my picture. Part of the TEL Talks team is myself and then Kylie Cooper, who is under the weather right now. So we'll be sending her some well wishes to feeling better. Some of our team that's offline and in the room, we have Aaron Young, Corey Woosley, Katie Hoffman, and Marissa Elberton. And with every TEL Talk, we have a guest speaker, and joining us today are partners from Achieve. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Julie Janik at Achieve. And as any of you who have attended TEL Talks in the past or anyone that is maybe new, make sure that you're utilizing the chat function on your GoToWebinar dashboard. So on that dashboard, you can type in questions here or utilize the chat function. We'll pause at the end for questions for Achieve, but if you have anything in the meantime, feel free to utilize either the questions dialog box or the chat function. And with that, we'll turn it over to Julia. Let's see here. Bear with me. All right. Okay, Julia, you should have access.
Okay, hi everybody. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Getting a little feedback. Gonna work on the technical difficulties for a second. Okay, great. Looks like we should be all set. Hi, my name is Julia Janik. I am the Data Verification Coordinator at Achieve. My day-to-day work involves processing individual membership applications, specifically reviewing and evaluating documentation that individuals send in to be verified on their profiles as we finalize their membership. I also support our phone and email customer support, both for Achieve and for our Develop Help Desk. So if you reach out to us, you might get me on the phone or via email. Tara Hudson, our operations coordinator, also was going to be here today, but she is also feeling under the weather. Everybody, please wash your hands in Tara's spirit. She would definitely approve of that, but we do still have Nikki here to answer questions as they come in. So our topic for today is the individual and the organization, and specifically how to help your staff get the most out of every individual membership application and renewal. Just going to go over our learning objectives right at the top here. We're going to talk about how to recognize the benefits of individual membership for your staff and how their memberships also benefit your organization. We'll also explore the membership application process, the nuts and bolts, and Achieve's acceptable documentation policy so that you can become the expert and a point person for your staff when they have questions. You'll also identify how you can use your Develop organization profile to support your staff while still empowering them to take ownership of their professional development and their individual Develop profiles. Okay, so let's get started. We only have an hour today, so we're going to move pretty quickly through this process, but I just wanted to call some attention right away to some resources that are always available. So Develop does have really useful guides available on right from their homepage, and they have step-by-step visual resources both for individuals and organizations. And then on our website, we also have really specified resources for supporting the membership application process, including a lot of the documentation policies that I'm going to be referencing today. So let's dive right in with benefits of membership for your staff. So when your staff first get onto Develop and create their profiles, that gets them access to taking approved training events through the Develop system and tracking their attendance at events on their learning record. They also have the option to become a member on Develop, which opens up several more benefits on their profiles. The first and most popular and probably commonly known benefit of membership is the option to have your education and training that are taken outside of Develop recorded on your profile. Specifically, this would be like your official transcripts or any outside training events. And kind of to go along with that, it saves your achievements electronically for easy access. It's a very secure way to get all of your information in the cloud so that you can have it where you need it, when you need it, how you need it. Another great thing about membership is the career ladder step that showcases your staff's achievements. That recognition is really important. We highly value the work that people in the workforce are doing, and we like to give them the recognition they deserve as they move forward in their careers. One of our most popular benefits of membership is our membership card. It's a little orange card, or you can get it through the Develop app as well. And trainers can use the Develop app to verify face-to-face training attendance instantly, which is really popular once you take a training to have that right away so that you can have proof of that training right away. Okay, so that is the benefits of membership for your staff as individuals. And now we're going to talk a little bit about benefits for you. So one of the most straightforward benefits for you of your staff becoming members in Develop is that it gives you easy access to your staff's records. Part of their membership application process is going to be adding themselves as employees at your organization. And that will connect them to your organization profile so that you can easily access their records and support them as they are completing their trainings and applying for membership and all of that. Another great benefit of membership is Parent Aware eligibility. Not only Parent Aware, but a lot of those other grants that Nikki mentioned at the beginning have membership requirements. So getting your staff all on and getting all their information on there is a really good starting point if you're looking into some of those programs. Another benefit that we're pretty excited about that doesn't always get talked about is relevance and representation in policy making. Minnesota is not the only state that has an early childcare workforce registry. It's a national initiative. I believe it's something like 37 states have early childcare workforce registries nowadays, and more are joining in every year. And the information that is verified on Develop for your staff is used as broad data to inform policymaking, not only at the state level, but also at the national level. So having your center and your staff represented in Develop makes sure that they are being taken into full consideration when policymakers are deciding where funding goes, which is very important. Okay, so now we have gone over kind of the main benefits of becoming a member and Develop for your staff. And now let's get into the nuts and bolts of submitting a membership application online and what that looks like. So your step one is going to be to apply online. You log into your Develop profile, and right there on the first page is a box that says become a member. You check that box and click apply/renew. And it's going to walk you through the membership application process. It's going to have you update all of your information, add some self-reported information about your education and employment and training, professional memberships. In particular, I want to call out 2 pages on that membership application today. A big one that we receive a lot of questions about is the education page, particularly the DHS licensing requirements. And we'll get a little further into this as we discuss acceptable documentation in a few minutes, but it is a requirement if you would like first aid and CPR verified in that section on your Develop profile. Those dates do need to be self-reported. So as your staff is filling out their membership applications, they will want to make sure that they're updating any new certification dates for first aid and CPR. The page immediately after the education page is going to be employment. So as I kind of hinted at before, this is where they're going to add a position at your center to connect to your organization profile as an employee. So it's very important that when they're filling out their membership application, they get that information updated. You'll also want to make sure that they have your organization profile number or DHS license number to make sure they're connecting to the correct organization. This is especially important if you're a part of a chain of centers with the same name or if your license number has changed in the last few years. So right after you click submit on your membership application, you'll receive an automatic email from Develop about sending acceptable documents. This email is going to come to you whether you're planning on sending documents or not, and it will recommend documentation to send based on whatever is self-reported on your profile. The really important thing to pay attention to is that you'll want to either send your acceptable documents within 15 business days, or you can log back into your profile and click I have no documentation to submit on your profile. That'll let us know that you're not planning on sending anything so that we can process your membership application without it. We do highly recommend creating a Develop profile and applying for membership as part of the onboarding process. That way you can get your staff online right away and connected to your organization profile. And if they already have a profile from a previous job, then they can log in and add you as their employer so you can see where exactly they're starting. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the acceptable documents that you might want to send with a membership application. So first and foremost, especially with your initial membership application, you might want to send official transcripts. This is the best way for you and your staff to achieve the highest career ladder step possible. In order for transcripts to be official, they need to come in a sealed envelope or encrypted PDF from the school. This is often a policy through the college, and unfortunately, we do live in a world and a time when transcript fraud is a very real thing. So making sure that it comes in a sealed envelope or encrypted PDF helps us make sure that it really is official. Also, if you're wondering what I mean by sealed envelope or encrypted PDF, if maybe your staff member has a copy of their transcript that still is in a sealed envelope, if you want, you can stick it inside of another envelope and send it to us. I mean, most people don't choose that option because it saves a little time and postage to just have it sent directly from the school, but that would work as well. And then an encrypted PDF would be if your college has the option to send it electronically via email or fax. That comes through very securely to our email system. Another really important thing to remember about official transcripts is if you have a previous last name. So for example, when I first started at Achieve, I had a different last name. And when I sent in my transcript, I had gotten married. And so my name changed and I needed to make sure that there was a way to identify on my transcript that that was also me. So there are a couple of ways you can make sure that that goes through. One good way is to just call us and make sure that your previous last name is on file. We are happy to add that for you to make a note in case anything comes through. I know the name change process can always be a bit much when you're trying to get all your records updated. So you can even just call us once and we'll have it on record forever. You never have to worry about it again. Or a lot of colleges do also have an option for adding a note when they're sending it to say this is this person's current name. It can also be really beneficial. Say your name is Sarah Smith. You might want to include your Develop ID number if you can, because there might be a lot of people with your same name in the system. It just helps us easily and quickly match that transcript to your profile. So the other piece of acceptable documentation I want to talk about as well is first aid and CPR. And I did hint at this a little bit as we were talking about the membership application process. We can verify American Heart Association and American Red Cross cards. They do have to be official cards. American Heart Association does require that the information on the front and the back of the card be typed. So we do need the front and back of the American Heart Association cards. And those dates would need to be self-reported in the DHS licensing requirements section for us to verify it on your profile. Another important thing to note with first aid and CPR, if you're looking to receive training hour credit on your training page, say you need those approved hours, you would need to send a supporting document. Most of those cards don't say how long the training was. So you would want to send a supporting document from the trainer that verifies how long you spent in that training, which is a great segue to bring me to training certificates. So we always recommend first and foremost attending approved training events located using the Develop Search for Training tool. Those courses have been fully approved by Achieve and your staff can have their attendance verified quickly by the training sponsor after the event. We do know that there is a big world of training out there, so we have some options available when outside training is too good to pass up. The most important criteria that need to be on training certificates are listed at the top of this slide here. We need to have the name of the attendee. So just like if you had students who turned in their homework, they would need to have their name on their homework. There also needs to be the date of attendance. You'll see I have a little asterisk next to that. If you look at our resources that I had mentioned in the beginning, there are there's some variability in what dates we can accept depending on the type of training. So I would encourage you to look into that. Typically for approved training hours, it's going to be within the last 5 years, and other clock hours, it's 1 to 2 years, depending on what type of application you're submitting. Really important is the hours of attendance. We can't award you training hours unless it says how many hours it was, and those trainings do need to be at least 2 hours in length. This actually matches our course approval policy for trainers. So when a trainer becomes an approved trainer in Develop and they submit courses, their courses also have to be 2 hours. So this is a way to make sure that we are being consistent and fair to all of the training providers who we're awarding credit for in Develop. We also need the name of the trainer or training sponsor organization on the certificate. This is the person or organization who's signing off and saying, yes, this person did take this training on this date for this long. And almost obvious, but so easy to miss, is the title of the training, and it does need to be relevant to early care and education. While you might have gotten a lot out of your Mediterranean cooking class, we might need a little bit more information to know how exactly that applies to your role as an early child care provider. Although I might like to take that training, it sounds like a lot of fun. So when you're sending in training certificates, there are two types of training credit that we can award. The first type is obviously approved training hours. Say you attended an approved training event and maybe you didn't have a Develop ID number at that time, or your attendance got somehow mixed around. Your trainer or training provider might be able to get you a certificate that has the event ID number on it, in which case you are more than welcome to send that certificate with your application or renewal, and we can make sure that we get that added on your profile. I would make sure that everything is still there, that it has the same criteria for the certificate, because we do need to match the event in the system to what is on the certificate. Another type of approved training hours is automatic training approval, automatic approved training organizations. I could do an entire webinar about automatic training approval, so I don't want to go too in depth about it today. All I want to say is it's really something that the training provider would reach out to us to make sure that they truly are approved and that their certificates are meeting criteria. So please don't assume that a training is automatically approved unless the organization knows that they're approved. And also on top of those other criteria that we need on the certificate, for those organizations, we would also need their logo on the certificate to make it official. And depending on the type of organization, it might need other information as well. But like I said, that's something that the training provider should really be taking care of on behalf of their attendees. So that brings me to other clock hours. So I have a bit of a definition here. Other clock hours means that a chief can verify that a training certificate was received, but cannot verify the content or quality of the training. Other clock hours training doesn't count for the career lattice, but we do still want to recognize it on your profile, because when an individual attends the training and we want to have that convenient electronic record for them, it'll be listed in a different place, but we still do want to have that record there for you. Okay, so just want to say one more time, if I can get my slide to change. There we go. I can't stress enough, if you are not sending in documents after you submit your membership application online, you must select I have no documentation to submit and confirm on your profile. This option is going to be available on the Develop profile right on the page right after you submit. But if you don't do it right away, maybe you think you have something, but you didn't mean to, you decided you didn't want to send it in, you can still go back into your profile for those 15 days. It'll be available on your summary page, a big blue button that says I have no documentation to submit and confirm, and that'll move you right into processing for your application. Oh, it worked this time, good. So now that we've gone through the process of becoming a member initially, I just want to touch briefly on individual membership renewal. What you'll see on your screen here is a resource that we have available on our website. It's our individual membership quick guide, kind of talking about when you want to renew a membership, and it also walks through how to click that button to let us know if you don't have any documents to send. It's important to note that we at Achieve are only authorized to add additional documentation to your profile when we're processing a membership application or renewal. But you can always renew early. There's no penalty or fee for renewing early. You can log into your profile at any time and submit a membership renewal so that you can send in additional documents. The only effect it will have would be to change your expiration date. So it's going to extend out your expiration date. Another tip that we like to offer is to have all of your staff renew around the same time. If they're not planning on sending additional documents, You can even make it a part of a staff meeting or in-service day to have everybody line up at the office computer and take 5 minutes to renew their membership application. Okay, so that brings me to, we have talked about empowering your employees to take ownership of their individual profiles and how you can support them through the membership process, and you're ready to help them if they have questions, but how can you really be sure that they're on top of it? So that's where your develop organization profile comes into play. We're going to focus, there are a lot of resources available on your organization profile, but there are two particular parts that we're going to focus on today. And first, we're going to talk about the Employees tab. So on the Employees tab is where you're going to verify and or update employment for your staff. When they've gone through and added you as their employer, it will send you an email saying this person has said they work at your center. Here's how you verify their employment. So you would go to your organization profile and verify that they are indeed employed at your center. Along the same lines and in the same place, if somebody leaves, you can add an end date of employment using this feature. Another really great thing about the Employees tab is there's a lot of at-a-glance information that you can view at any time. This is where you can see all of your verified employees' develop ID numbers. Say you're trying to register everybody for a training all at once, you can use that information there for that. Or say somebody is coming to you and saying, I forgot my develop ID number, you can look at it really quickly on there. You can also see the job title that they have verified and developed, whether they are an aide or a teacher or lead teacher. All of that information will be right there on the Employees tab. You can also see at a glance each of your staff members' career ladder steps. That can be really useful if you're, like I said, applying for one of those grants or for a parent aware rating. That information will be really valuable to you in that setting. And also if somebody is interested in how they can move up, you can kind of see where they're at. Something we're going to talk a lot about today is that you can see their individual membership statuses and expiration dates. So this is really great if they are applying for membership or renewing and they're not sure where exactly they're at, or if you are not sure that they really did go in and renew, you can actually check it and verify right from the Employees tab of your organization profile. So we're going to go over some of the statuses that would be listed on your organization profile and exactly what those mean. Very first, I want to talk about applied. If it says applied, that means there's action required. That's how I always remember it. A and A, applied means action required. That means that they have submitted their membership application online, but we are still waiting to receive their documents. And whether they're going to send documents, if they're not, that means they would need to still log back into their profile and indicate that they're not sending any documents. So this is a really quick at-a-glance way to see, does my employee still need to complete submitting their membership application? Another status that's available on this page, it might say materials received. So that's kind of the opposite of applied. That means that they have submitted their membership application, they've sent in their documents, we have them checked in, and we are working on processing their membership application. No action is required on their part, and they can sit back and let a chief take care of the rest. Now say that they applied and we didn't receive those documents and they didn't log in and submit their, or say they weren't sending any documents, then their application might be canceled. Now, this is a little bit tricky on here. It might not necessarily say canceled. You'll never see the word canceled on the Employees tab of your organization profile. What will happen is it'll revert back to whatever the status was before they renewed. So that would mean it would either go back to current with their expiration date coming up, or it'll go back to expired. Or if they've never applied for membership in the past, it might be completely blank. If you're ever not sure, the individual can definitely log into their individual profile. We always leave them notes and send them emails if there were additional steps that they needed to take. So on a happier note, we have the in process status. In process is very similar to materials received. Again, that means that we are currently working on processing their membership application and no action is required. That is usually if the individual submitted and said they weren't sending any documents, then they're going to jump straight to in process because we're not going to receive any materials. So they're just going straight to in process. Or it means that we've received their materials and we have fully evaluated them and they're just waiting to be entered on their develop profile. After we get through applied, materials received, they wouldn't cancel, and in process, then after we have entered all of their information, they're going to move to awaiting print. For all intents and purposes, awaiting print means the same thing as current. We're not awaiting anything from the individual. We're awaiting our printing contract company to print out the certificates and mail them to everyone's addresses that are on their profiles. So awaiting print is a very good status to be in. It means everything has been updated and your career ladder step is coming soon. Current and expired are pretty self-explanatory. Current is what your application status will be once your career ladder certificate is printed. And then that means that your membership is valid, it's not expired, and you are good to go until next year you won't need to renew or next time you want to send in documents. And then expired means that you have not renewed your membership for at least a year since your last submission. So now that we've gone through the different information that's available on your Employees tab, let's talk a little bit about the Reports tab. There are 2 reports that are always available to you on your Develop Organization profile. One of them is Achieve MNCPD Verified Hours by KCF Area. That's going to be really, really useful if you're participating in Parent Aware. You can see at a glance how many hours you have in each KCF area that is going to affect that. Your PDA or coach might help you look at that and interpret that. And then an even broader report is your staff report. When you click on your staff report, it's going to bring up a list of all of the verified employees at your center. And then you can click on any of their names and it'll bring up their full learning record so that you can print it easily. This is where you can see if everyone is up to date on their training. So you can print their learning records, see what they've completed in the last year or 5 years. You can easily see that we've received their official transcripts and they're verified. There's a lot of really valuable information available on their learning record. Your staff can also print their learning records from their individual profiles. So this is a really good way that the individual and organization profiles work together so that you both have access to exactly the information that you need. Okay, so we went through a lot of information really quickly. So I just want to kind of come back and summarize and talk about some tips and tricks to go over what we talked about today. If you take one thing away, I could harp on this forever. It is to send in acceptable documentation or click I have no documentation to submit on your profile. It's always a shame to see applications get canceled when, you know, if you can just log into your profile and select that you have no documentation to submit, we can get that rolling for you. And then another thing to take note of is with the acceptable documentation policy, there are going to be documents that don't fall within those requirements, and you're more than welcome to keep those certificates on file for your records or for your employees' records. They're definitely still valuable, but I would like for you to save time and money on postage, and you do not have to send them to Achieve if we're not going to be able to recognize them. We have a really great blog available on our website. On top of the full acceptable documentation policy, we also have a fun blog about what not to send to Achieve. So kind of various things that we've received throughout the years that people can keep on file for themselves, but they do not need to send to us. Another really great takeaway for today is that we want you to empower your employees to take ownership over their Develop profile. It is their individual Develop profile, and if they leave your program, they will take it with them. They'll have all of that information available to them. It's for their career development. On top of that, due to data privacy law, we take the security of Develop profiles really seriously, and that information that you're putting on there is protected. So we're not able to discuss details of somebody's profile with a third party without that person present or giving their consent. A really great option that a lot of programs like to take, if everyone's more comfortable with it, you can always have us on speakerphone if your employee would feel better having you there, or if you'd like to be in the loop on it, call them in, put us on speakerphone. We are happy to have a little conference with you about any questions about your employee's profile. A couple tips about updating employment. We talked today about how your staff member can add themselves as an employee at your organization. This is done either as they're applying for their membership or renewing their membership, or when they have a current membership, they can edit it at any time. It's done on the employment tab of their individual profile. It's not the same thing as becoming an administrator on the organization profile. There are ways for you to add, say, a helper or an educational administrator to help you manage the organization profile. And if you're interested in that, I would highly encourage you to check out those develop guides or contact the Develop Help Desk. We'd be more than happy to help you set that up. But it is not going to connect their learning record to your organization profile in the same way that adding employment will. Another tip that I kind of hinted at today is when they're adding employment, you definitely want to give them your organization ID or current DHS license number. Again, like I mentioned before, it's really helpful if there are multiple centers with the same name, or maybe the name is ever so slightly different than how they spelled it when searching for your organization. This is a really quick, clear, and easy way to make sure that they are connecting to your organization right the first time. Another thing to remember is that a promotion is a new position. Say somebody is moving from a teacher to a lead teacher, they might go on to their individual profile and try to edit their employment to show the promotion. But what they're actually going to want to do is add a new position with a start date of the day they started in their new position, and then they'll put an end date on the previous one. This keeps that information in them to show their career growth over time, and keeps it really clear for all of the records. It does still recognize longevity as an employee at your program and their time in the field. We'd also encourage everyone to watch out for newsletters and new resources that we're creating all the time. Each spring and fall, we put out a Policy Currents newsletter with any important updates or new policies or updates to policies that may be happening. We send them out in an email blast, we post them on our Facebook page, and they're kept on our website forever. So you can always go back and see, oh, did that change? When did that change? You can take a look at the Policy Currents newsletters to keep an eye on and keep up to date on all of that information. Our Facebook page is kept up to date with all of those resources, any new resources that we create, and it also has some kind of fun things. If our staff is doing Red Nose Day, or we did something fun for Week of the Young Child. We also have been doing workforce highlights to showcase people working in the field. And then again, if any new resources or events are happening, we will definitely have the most up-to-date information on our Facebook page. We are also, based on any questions that come up today from this webinar, we are working on creating a one-page resource for directors. So by all means, keep an eye out for that and let us know if there's any information that you really would love to have access to at your fingertips all the time. Okay, so we have plenty of time for questions here. I also want to let everyone know that we do have contact information on our website, both for Achieve and the Develop Help Desk at Achieve, and that's all available at www.mncpd.org. So if we don't have time to get to your question today, by all means, please reach out to us via phone or email.
Thanks, Julia. I'm just going to put you on mute for just a second so I can ask some of these questions, and then either you or anyone in the room can jump in to provide some more information. Just a couple of things. Kylie wanted to note that she believes that there's a way that you can update a name or a previous name on Develop without having to renew the membership. Would you be able to discuss that?
Yes, so you do have access to, if you have a current membership in Develop, you have access to, there'll be more tabs on your individual profile. So you would go to the personal tab of your profile, and it's as easy as saying edit personal, putting in your new name, and saving. If you don't have a membership, you might not see that tab available. So first and foremost, you should become a member, but if you don't have a membership and you're not applying at that time, you can also call the Develop Help Desk at Achieve, and we can update that for you as well.
Great, thank you. There's another question on here that says, is there anyone that can help my staff learn more about Develop? For example, is there anyone that can come to our site or help our staff learn more about Develop? It just says Develop, so I think I could jump in and say that, you know, if you are participating in Parent Aware and you are having questions regarding that, both your coach and your professional development advisor would be your go-to resources on that. And then if you have specific questions about memberships or navigating, you could also reach out to Achieve. Julie, do you have anything else to add?
Just say you can always call. You can always call either us or the Develop Help Desk or Parent Aware. One of us is going to get you to the right person who can help you with what you need. We're always looking for reasons to come to Minnesota and visit with the workforce too. So that's definitely something that we've heard before and something that's in the works.
Perfect, thank you. We'll also have resources available, I believe a session or a table at the MNEC-MNSACA conference. So if you're attending that or interested in attending that, you know, you could talk to somebody in person there. Again, Julia mentioned, but Child Care Aware of Minnesota, your coach, your PDA would be a great resource as well, in addition to Achieve. Let's see, there's a couple really great questions on here, and I'll try to summarize and get these answered. So there's, if someone could speak to maybe some justification or overall the reasoning for the 2-hour training. There's a question asking why maybe 1-hour trainings don't currently count or aren't recorded, and wanting to know maybe reasoning, you know, behind that as far as not getting those hours counted.
That's a DHS policy that was put into place a few years ago based on, you know, the expertise that they heard at the time about adult learning and all of that. If there is, you know, we're always looking to improve and taking feedback from individuals, but those policies are set forth by DHS, and yeah.
Okay, thanks. If you also have more concerns or questions regarding any of that, you could also contact your coach or your professional development advisor as well. There is also a question here regarding trainer levels. So maybe Corey, you might want to take this one. It says, what is in the works for alternative pathways for trainer levels? Wondering about early childhood leaders being able to create approved trainings for their staff, and wondering what's in the works for that. If you could provide some type of update, that would be wonderful. You can talk into my computer. Here you go.
Hi, my name is Corey Woosley. I'm the Director of Workforce Development here at Child Care Aware of Minnesota, and what a timely question you have. We are currently working with the department on trainer leveling and looking at a variety of different options for people to become approved. And along with this, we're also looking at the course approval process. So this also kind of goes to the answer to Julia's last question, where she so lovely said, lovely-ish said, DHS made the rule. I will say we have a course work group, so we're always looking at maybe changing the rules too. But nothing isn't written in stone yet. So that may be an option for the 1 hour. In terms of the trainer leveling, we are always going to look at education as being a foundation for what our trainers have that deliver courses. What that education level is may vary. We don't know exactly where it's going to end up, but they are in process right now of reviewing that. And I believe in June of 2020, they'll be announcing what those changes are. However, it is going to require education. Here at Child Care Aware, we have the TARS contract with, most of you all know Matt, everybody knows Matt. And he is working with trainers, and we also have a trainer academy that we're creating, which is going to be an option for people that are interested in becoming a trainer, but maybe don't have the education that they are going to require to go through and be able to become an approved trainer. And then one more piece, and I'll let a chief go back to their webinar, is along with that, we're also looking at who is the best person to write a course. So is it that everyone can write a course? Will it be associated with trainer levels? Will we have a separate course writing endorsement? We don't know yet, but those are, so what I told you is a lot of yets, but they're all in process. And in fact, we have a meeting tomorrow to start looking some more at that. But I anticipate we'll have answers all in the next 6 months for these.
Perfect. Thanks, Corey. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions here in the questions box or in the chat function. Oh, in a follow-up to your question, Corey, is there any way for trainers to get involved in advocacy for trainer leveling or course approval?
Why, of course there is. So a couple things is, one is you can always join our trainer Facebook. It's the Minnesota Early Childhood trainer Facebook page. It's through TARS. Did I say the name of it right? I feel like I didn't. Well, I said Facebook, right? So anyways, but what I would say is the best thing is probably to contact Matt. It's Matt E. at childcareawaremn.org, and he can talk to you about the Facebook. And then I do know, based on the meeting we have tomorrow with the department, there's going to be some subgroups created, at least for course approval. So you can always email Matt or me, and I'm Corey W. at childcareawaremn.org, and we can work with you to get involved in that.
Thank you. All right, let's see. Great questions so far. Let's check our time. Okay, we're still good. A couple of questions. Let's see. Just call outs. Comment to make is that having a current develop membership is going to help someone be ready to apply for retain, teach, other grants, things that Julia had mentioned earlier. And it's a huge time saver for that process. And oh, Kylie clarified the Facebook page. It's Minnesota Early Childhood Approved Trainers and RBPD Specialists.
And directors.
And directors. Yeah. So that's the name of the long Facebook page title. Let's see, there's another question about trainings and trainers. Should I be afraid of any of these new changes?
No, absolutely.
Corey says absolutely not. So if you have further questions about that, you can reach out to Matt and or to Corey about training and trainers. Let's see, don't see any other questions on the chat function. Anything that you want to add, Julia, about the topics that we said? Otherwise, we can wrap up.
Sure. So I guess I just can't stress enough to call us or email us with questions. We have a 24-hour response time on emails, so we're usually pretty good about getting back to you as fast as we can, and we're happy to help as much as we can.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, we just wanted to say thank you to everyone that joined today's webinar. Thank you to our partners at Achieve. And again, if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to Achieve directly. Or if you have specific questions about trainers or trainers, Corey and Matt. Thanks everybody for your time today, and be sure to join our next Health Talk in November. Thank you.
Obviously, you guys don't.